Before today's edition of Hallyujuku, let's play everybody's favorite game, Who Beefed?
일단 제가 아니 없어. 일단 제가 말하고 싶은 거는 이분한테도 멤버한테도 그리고 그 같이 계시는 해설배
If you know the answer, leave your guesses in the comments below. Now let's get to the show. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Hallyujuku, a K-pop podcast, a J-pop podcast as well sometimes. Overall East Asian pop culture podcast by a couple of guys from the East Coast of the U.S. I'm Petey Rave. I'm your guy over here on the left. Your left. Here with me is my tag team partner. My partner in crime, my right-hand man to my left-hand side, your right-hand side, Brandon Cooper, a.k.a. King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. We're here. We're hanging out, talk about East Asian pop culture, talk about things. We've got trips going on that we're gonna plan for. I've got South by Southwest. We're excited about next month, late next month, Vegas. We're excited to kind of just do our things, do our travel stuff. But you know, in the meantime, let's talk about East Asian pop culture. Of course, we start off every episode talk about what's new, what's caught our attention. Cass, what's new? What's
so new for me this week is a collabo between Kwa-Lin and Woo-Sik from Pentagon. Kwa, people might remember from If I Kept My Goddamn Notes Open, the group that he was in. They're both from two different groups, but they're both on Cube Entertainment, and this is kind of a bring these two youngsters together because they sound really good together, and it works. This is their song "I'm a Star," and I think they're doing a mini, if my research is correct. And if it's gonna sound like this, I'm definitely excited to hear more of it.
Yeah. Quan-Lin was a member of 101, that behemoth of a group.
Yes.
Who's on Produce, as it were. But yeah, this song is cool. This song is like a very cool sound. It's just very much like idol group member R&B. Like and I say that in the best way possible. There's some cool moments in the video. The video is interesting, I guess. It just kind of like is a bunch of things happening.
It goes through very different like kind of moments of being a star, like being a legitimate like pop star, being like this famous singer, being a star in the sky, like, and just kind of all these little silly things. And I think the boys kind of do well with it. Like their vocals are really, really good. And I kind of like the comedy of the video. They kind of seem to carry the personality really well.
There's also puppet murder. So
yeah.
That's something. But yeah, overall it's a really cool track.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I think it's something worth going to check out. You can check it on One the K's YouTube channel, and there'll be links down below. Next for me is a sad moment. I got a couple of tracks. I'm gonna give you some context. I got a couple of tracks in here by the boy Loco. I love Loco. I'm pretty sure Petey is a fan of Loco over at AOMG,
Loco.
But the boys from AOMG have recently sent Loco off to do his military service. So he's going to be gone for about 2 to 3 years to do his military service. I think he left early in February. And they kind of had a big what do to send him off. And Loco being just, I think, the pure just beast that he is. He knew, like, oh, you know, we're gonna kind of send me off, because I think Gray tweeted out some stuff and put stuff on Instagram to be like, oh, my homie's gonna be gone. But Loco being the guy that he is, he drops a 6-track album with just features of some of him and his dope friends, produced by Gray and a bunch of other people. And there's a couple of tracks that have videos. So this one is Tangled Up, featuring PH1 and some cute ass dogs.
Yes.
And it's just like a super chill ass track that I had to listen to it twice, because the first time I was just like, oh my god, cute ass dogs, and then the second time I was shipping Loco and PH1, and then I came back around and just listened to the song, and it's just a fun track.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just fun to it's a fun track, but yeah, you can get distracted. It's definitely just fun to watch a video just for him. Like, it's just him taking pictures of his dog, playing with
on FaceTime with his homie.
FaceTime with his homie as they show off each other's dogs. So it's like,
yeah,
it's almost kind of ridiculous and adorable. But overall the song is still nice. I think it's nice. Loco is fantastic. Like, it's gonna be a bummer for him to kind of put a hold on his career for a couple of years. You can see in this video, and he already has the haircut, his military haircut. So this is like you can almost see like this is like his last moments of like chill freedom before it's time to go. Like, if you kind of interpret it like that, it's kind of cool. This is him just like, you know.
We go from that into the next video, which is It's Been a While, featuring the amazing Zion.T, where you can see him get that military haircut in this video from Zion.T, which hopefully is kind of just it's another.
Hopefully, it didn't actually have Zion.T cut his hair like.
No, but it's just another fun track. And I always kind of sometimes forget how much I enjoy Loco's vocals. Like, his vocals are just so on point. Like, he just has this really good tempo to the way that he raps and does things. And like, I just respect so much of what they're doing over at AOMG. And I think it's going to be, it's definitely something that's put together with thought, and it's going to be the thing that takes over.
Yeah. So, yeah, AOMG. I will say, I'm going to call him out on one thing. There's a test, as far as there's a microphone test called the Shure Super M55 test. And he fails it. And he fails this spectacularly. The test is, can you sing on to the right part of a Shure Super M55? And we're not sure what that mic is. It's that old-timey mic you see. The one with the silver one, that's the old-timey mic. That somebody's
with the grill and stuff. Yeah.
And all that. And he's not only fails by doing the classic turning it down, singing it onto the top of a side address mic. He not only... He has this position in a way that in order to correct it, not only do you have to turn it up, but you have to turn it around, because he has the front facing up and away from him. Maybe, you know what? That's something you can learn in the military. This is a microphone. This is the side you sing into. But that's the only thing I'm going to call him out on. Overall, this is a cool track. It's odd seeing him in that hairdo. I was actually kind of surprised that his military service was up already. Like his military service is starting already. But yeah, he's I guess it's time for everyone. I mean, everyone in Korea, every male in Korea. So it wasn't for me.
But yeah, so we're definitely gonna
No
miss
offense.
Loco while he's doing his military service. But he left us with a six track banger, and I think it's called Hello. Uh, is it called Hello? It's like Hello. This is my album. Hello, or something silly like
I
that.
don't know, like, yeah, I think it's just, it's called Hello in all capital letters.
Yeah. So definitely, if you like Loco, if you like AOMG, go check that out. It's definitely worth checking out. And yeah, that's just kind of what I'm bringing this week. My love for Loco and my sadness that he's going to be gone.
Good luck to Loco, and we preemptively thank you for your service. Granted, not to our country, but to the country we follow. So, fighting.
Yep.
But yeah, I've got a couple of tracks that I'm bringing in. There's some things that caught my attention in the time that we last gathered. There's a couple interesting tracks. So one of them is the kind of the comeback from Subin, formerly of Dal Shabet, now known as professionally as Dal Subin, kind of depending how you want to pronounce it. She comes back with a brand new track called Catch Up. And it is a cool, fun, quirky song. It's like musically it's very interesting, kind of how it's structured. I've seen like reviews talking about how it kind of mostly teases throughout the whole track before it kind of like dropping properly later on in the track, and I think that works for it. It's the Subin's vocals are fantastic. The kind of the structure of the song kind of is unconventional in a really good way. It's still kind of like catchy in a sense, at least to me. And like when it finally has that kind of like freak out drop moment, it's effective and fun. Like, and I think overall it's just really well made and it's really cool. Yeah.
I can feel that. I get a really chill vibe from this. And I had that weird moment where I wanted to know what camera they shot this with, because I love that kind of like old filmic look that it has to it, and I wasn't sure if it was editing or if they just kind of decided to go with something that could hit that standard. But it's a very simplistic video, like in all of it, but the vocals are really great. And I think it's just like it's kind of something you just put on in the background and just chill and vibe out to.
Yeah. And it works well, and it's like it's structured really well, and I think it's really cool. And I'm glad to see Subin continuing her creative work, because I think she's a pretty good writer, and she's actually like crafting her own sound, which is really nice. In kind of a similar way to somebody who probably inspired her. I think there's been enough of a gap, but yeah, somebody who inspired her, which would be, of course, the one and only, the fantastic, the fabulous, your favorite female idol's role model, most likely, Sunmi. She, of course, of Wonder Girls, and now just of her own again. Sunmi came back with her brand new track, Noir. And I think it's really effective. I think it's a really good song. It's really effective. Like the video is really cool. It has, kind of like, it has the theme of like doing it all for the gram. It's all about doing it all for the gram, and then like, even when things are blowing up and things are terrible, you never admit it. Just put on a brave face and go live on Instagram for the likes. And it's really cool. It's like talking about something that, it's talking about like, how people refuse to address the problems that they're going on personally, or refuse to be their true selves, and you know, the masks we put on for the social media and things like that, all for the likes and the subscribes and the hitting the bells. Which, by the way, be sure to like this video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell, tell your friends, give that 5-star review on iTunes, hit like on all our Instagram pictures. Yeah, I think it works. It's a fun video. It's for kind of like how dark it is, in a sense. It's still very very cool. Yeah, I think it works well. What did you think, Kaz?
I mean, like I said, it's just I don't know. It just has like that. I don't know. It's just so like it's very similar like to like other things, but I don't know. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything to say. It's just like kind of just really simple, but
effective. I think
effective. Yeah, simple but effective.
Yeah, I think like it works well for her, and Sumi is just fantastic. I think she's crafting such a fantastic career for herself.
Because it's like we've seen kind of other styles of this before, of like kind of the emotionalist, like kind of where she like kind of reacts but doesn't really. But it's like, I don't know. It works here in a weird way.
Yeah. I'm glad. More Sunmi.
Yeah.
Fighting. But yeah, speaking of iconic divas of K-pop, we have the one, the only, the fantastic, the fabulous Key of SHINee, coming back with the track again. Speaking of, this is a theme. Speaking of dropping hot tracks right before it's time for you to head off to the military, just before Key is, I think he finally actually did leave. I think like a couple of weeks ago, just before he went off to take care of his military service as well. Key drops a track with a guest appearance by Soyeon of G-Idol. And it is a fun track. This is very much like if you've heard the previous Key solo track. This is right in that alley. But it's still great, and it's still fun. It still has a really great energy. He's fantastic. His vocals are fantastic. The visuals are fantastic. Soyeon does a great. Adds a lot to the track really well. And does a great part, and it's just a fun song. Just adds to my love. I love the SHINee.
Beat.
Yeah,
the beat is amazing.
Yeah, the beat, it just works well, and it's so fun. And like so,
like it's such a dance beat. It's like such a fucking dance beat, and I love it, and I'm all about it.
Like it just kind of just gets to like just groove to it, and it's just like. It's funny because like I think even like the Asian Junkie review of it has or something else has talked about how like usually when people release a song right before they go to the military, they usually release some like morose, sad, like promise track for the fans. That's like this ballad that's like, "Oh, I'm going to miss you," blah blah blah. But no, Key wasn't about any of that. He just
neither was Loco though.
Neither was Loco.
Even Loco's.
Yeah, like Loco and Key are both.
I think they're setting a new trend. They're like, none of that sad shit.
Yeah,
we're partying.
Like this is our last moments before you head in the military. Let's celebrate. Just have fun. Here's a banger. Yeah, and it's just fantastic. Plus, he got to wear his silliest haircut right before he had to get his head shaved. So, it's like, when you have to get like a really important, serious haircut, of course you just go say, fuck it. Let's just have a mullet. Let's just have a bleached mullet.
I mean, yeah, but he's also dressed like he's from the 80s in half this video. So I think the haircut goes with the outfits he has on.
Yes. I think, yeah, it all works really well. So really fantastic track by Key. Key's fantastic. Shiny's fantastic. Yeah, we're going to have to see. Looking forward to a couple of years when they're all going to be back and seeing what they do once they're all a little older and a little more mature and see what music they explore.
Because I've been loving the sound that Key has been putting out, like in these last few tracks, like so. And then I always just enjoy what Loco puts out, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that changes or stays the same or what happens.
Yeah, that's it for what's new. We transition over now to our headlines. Let's talk about
headline.
So join us, won't you? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the headline segment here on Hallyujuku. Where we talk about some topical topics going on in the world of East Asian pop culture. Some of the goings-ons and whatabouts of it all. There's a big one we're not going to talk about just because, boy, is that impossible to unpack. Maybe we'll do a Hallyujuku talks about it.
I think it's more. I think it's more. We need more information.
Yeah.
I think what has dropped. So look here. Go do your homework because we're gonna do ours as well. We're talking about the Sangri drama that is going on. So go do your homework. Read up on it. We're gonna do our due diligence as well.
Read all 5 master threads on Reddit.
All the master threads, every article from the fucking which I learned today. There's a Korean version of Huffington Post,
yes.
The Asian Junkie articles, the all K-pop articles, the all pop star articles. Every Korean blog has a story. Parse the information. Take your notes. I've taken mine.
Maybe not the all K-pop articles, but that's just me.
Actually, the all K-pop article is just reference to the Huffington Post article. Okay. It's not really. The Huffington Post article, and they also lay claim to the Asian Junkie article too. Like reference points to the Asian Junkie article too, which is also just a reference to the Huffington Post article. So I guess just read the Huffington Post article. Because that's both where they got their information from. So yeah, go do that. Take that in.
We'll do for something. Now, I don't know. When I get back from Texas, hopefully. Yeah,
but we just need more information.
Yeah, hopefully
we need a lot more information because there's weird mystery doors in here that I don't want to fall into. But for now, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about Mnet and Produce 101.
Yeah, Produce X101. The next
Produce
season.
X101, which is at this point, canonically, it's the 3rd season of the Produce series. And
fourth, because if you count Produce 48.
Okay.
Produce.
We'll also get into the 48verse. So Mnet has kind of has been doing this weird chess move that has now been noticed with this Produce series. So
they got the tip in, and now they're edging it closer and closer.
Yeah, it's Rook 5 E12. They're saying a bunch of numbers you don't understand, and somebody's getting fucked.
Yeah.
So basically what they've done is, for the first Produce series, and correct me where my math is wrong, it was a 1-year Mnet contract.
1 year roughly, and I think I want to say it was like 1 year exactly, like 12 months. But I'm not
and then
exactly sure.
According to this Asian Junkie article that we're taking some of our information from, season 2 had a 1.5-year contract.
Yeah, it was 101. That's kind of that's why there was overlap between 101 existing and Eyes 1 existing.
Yeah. So now where we are here, they're going to do a
Which Eyes
5-year
One
contract.
for Produce 48 is on a 2.5-year contract. Does that?
Yeah. Yeah. So where we are here is a 5-year contract. Now, this is a 5-year split contract. So if you've been following the math, we've gone 1.5. So now we're at 2.5. They double dog dared you. They double dog dared you there. You thought they were just going to go straight to. No, they went 2.5 on you.
Yes.
So this is a split contract between Mnet and then the label of the trainee. So Mnet gets 2.5 years in the Produce group to promote and work with the trainees, and then they can freely do whatever they want. Which I don't understand this clause of with the remaining 2.5 years allowing them to pursue both individual and group activities freely, and why it's not just like because. What I'm failing to understand is like, is there some weird clause that there is continued things with these Produce things after the contracts?
I think there aren't. So what it's been is, so Produce 101, the first one, produced IOI, and I had it for a year, and that's whole stop.
Right.
But even in that year, when they weren't promoting with IOI, they still the members still did things within their label. So some of them had groups. So Gugudan debuted during that time, if I remember correctly, and there was a couple of things that were laid out in the times in between IOI comebacks, and like especially if you're What a Man, that one comeback wasn't everybody in the group because some of them were doing something else. Like it was like the youngest ones. So then like 101, they did it on a 1.5 year contract, but I'm pretty sure like there was like it was the same thing where they were doing 101 and then they like between comebacks they would go back and do other things with their labels. I don't know exactly how the deal with the Eyes One thing is going. I don't know how much of it is going to involve the 3 AKB members actually doing anything with AKB if they want to. I don't know exactly how that is, but could be similar. But what I think it looks like it's going to be 2.5 years where where those trainees are a member of this group, whatever the new Produce group is, which presumably this is all the male. This is if they're alternating like they did before, this is going to be the male trainees. 2.5 years where they are under Mnet and they are part of this group, and they come back with this group and they do activities with this group. That's it. And then the other 2.5 years, they lessen the comebacks or something, or kind of space out the comebacks where they do that, but also are able to do solo comebacks or whatever they're going to do with their labels as a kind of like a trade-off of and it could be like a thing they work out within Mnet, and kind of like they'll have to ask all of the labels. Like here's what I think. Here's the difference. Those 2.5 years, Mnet doesn't have to ask shit from those labels. They come back as a group and that's it. Like this is they set the schedules. They have them for that time exclusively. The other 2.5 years, they have to coordinate with the labels for comebacks.
So it sounds like in a very weird,
like they have to ask permission.
Well, no. So it sounds like in a very weird way. It sounds like an exclusivity contract, like with the video games, right? Where it's like, this game will be on Xbox first, right? And you'll get all these Xbox exclusives for it being on Xbox first. And then it's going to spread out. It's going to go to the PlayStation. It's going to go to the PC. It's going to go to the Switch where no one gives a fuck. And then it's just kind of free reign from there, and how the publisher wants to do it from there. Whereas when it's exclusive on Xbox, Xbox is going to be in charge of pushing this game and pushing the content for this game outside of what the publisher is going to do within itself. So it's kind of, in a weird way, sounds like that, where Mnet is going to kind of exclusively push this in a weird way. Well, I guess they're in a weird way claiming clout, right? They're going to be like, hey, these kids will then come back to you with kind of ready-made stardom, ready-made fandom, and then you'll get the points and royalties that I'm assuming are in these contracts that even this all K-pop article, I mean, not all K-pop, Asian Junkie article kind of alludes to, that there's most likely some kind of royalty system built into this for the labels and companies. I'm guessing in a weird way, because of what people have seen from the previous produce series and how well they have done for producing these groups and these kids getting this ready-made fandom when they come back to their companies, I'm guessing for now it seems like a good trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, I wonder if like part of that is because the struggle has been, if you look historically, the struggle has been, okay, how post-produce, how can you capitalizing on that momentum? If you talk about the season 1. Which we really it's because it's a small sample size. We only have one group to think of post career wise as a good sample size, because due to the contract lengths, I think we just had the end of 101, so we just are starting to get into this post produce era for them, and obviously IZ*ONE just started, so we only have IOI. And if you look at the careers of the members of IOI, it's really just been Chungha blowing up and being the next Sunmi, and then everybody kind of being pretty popular members of groups nobody cares about. Like, and it's been like, oh, they know Chaeyoung. They have no idea that she's in Daya, and the group has no notoriety whatsoever, but they know Chaeyoung. And they know Sejong and Mina, but they have no presence unless they're as far as like Gugudan. I mean, Pristine is in a dungeon somewhere, in the Pleiades' dungeon. So I wonder if this is Mnet saying and putting going to them and you guys have been struggling. And you'll have to struggle. You'll have to figure out how it'll work for your boys here as well. What if you don't have to actually worry too much about their post-group career, and you can just bank on their, this whatever group, especially whatever group that we make, bank on the success that the consistent success we make off of them, and you can get them post into into when they're ready to have their post, their secondary solo stuff. This is them saying, hey, we can late into this contract, we can share it with you so that you can do their solo stuff. You handle their solo stuff while this is still becomes their group, basically. This is because 2.5 years into an idol group's career, that's right around where they start doing units and solo stuff. So and that's where they'll have to share. So the group will be the thing, and this is their group, and then they'll go back to the labels to do solo stuff. And they could also even send group idol trainees that are their third string choice for what their new main group's vocalist. This is their third string vocalist, or this is their second string rapper. That they didn't quite make the cut for their new main group, but they think has a promising, an option that could make something happen. It's like a soccer team getting one of their young academy members that they don't have a space yet for in the main roster, but they can sell away their contract to like some international team or some other leagues team, for some money, or they loan him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of international play, I want to get into this one. We have some people, and we said we would get into the 48verse a little bit here. And I kind of love these stories that you found of girls going from the 48verse into the K-pop world. Takahashi Juri has signed a contract with Woollim Entertainment and will be making a debut in a Korean formed girl group. And I say Korean formed because I just mean Korean label wise. We're not super duper sure who some of the other members might be. There's a bunch of other blogs that take their hit at who they think those people will be, with who's on Woollim Entertainment as a trainee or otherwise. But I don't want to jump too hard into speculation. I just want to kind of talk about what I think is the inner bubble that is the 48verse and how it works and why I think we're going to start to see more of this. So the 48verse is a very, very, very just highly competitive, like cutthroat kind of
pond.
thing.
Very big pond.
Very big pond
with a lot of little fish.
You are definitely no matter how your fans now this is a thing, right? When you enter the 48verse and you make your way up, you have fandom, right? Like the 48verse is really good at getting each individual girl their own individual fandom. And it's kind of this weird science that I've still never figured out, even though they got me to believe in it for a while. Where you fall into the trap of being like, I wanna make sure she becomes number one. So you come with this ready-made fandom coming out of the 48verse, and then entering something like K-pop, where I think the 48verse, no matter what, compared to the landscape that K-pop has right now, is still smaller and more niche. But I think the things you probably learn going through the 48verse that you can then take into K-pop would probably put you in a position to dominate in a sense.
Yeah. It's interesting because like the idea is going, you can, if you look at it at a certain face level and you don't really dig too deep into like think about what the differences actually are, you would think like, oh, you're going from a bigger market to a much smaller market. But if you want to look at it at a surface level, but if you look at it really, as dominant as AKB are, and it's overcrowded, it's still just a small part of one country, where and even then you're still a very small fish in that very big pond. That's still not a big part of the bigger pond. So it's a small part and you're a very small part. Where you go to Korea, you go to K-pop, you go to a smaller pond overall, but you're kind of like you're not walled off into a specific pond of the bigger greater pond. You're in a school of fish that swims among the pond for the most part the entire pond, and that also channels into other ponds, because Korea is a small market relatively domestically, but it is also built around, because of that, it's built around not just Korea, but also exporting globally, even back to Japan. So it's like you go into
Yeah.
that. You go into you're maybe getting into a group that does a little bit more of a diverse style, that also is a little bit more global. You kind of give yourself an even bigger slice of fandoms from a couple of different countries, and you're able to like build a career where that you can like establish a base in Korea, maybe go as the group grows, maybe reach out to China, go back to Japan a little bit, like take what you learn, take the style, take what you grow with, and take it back to Japan. So,
and I also think just right now, the 48verse I think it'll come back around, but I feel like the Japanese idol fandom globally has had its moment. And I think right now, K-pop has the world view, right? Like everybody's looking at K-pop, right? It kind of hit the flash in the pan with Psy, right? Where it's like everybody in the world all of a sudden wanted to know what Korean music was. And then it kind of tapered down a little bit.
yeah.
And then now with
And
BTS, and
Blackpink.
even to a smaller extent, and Blackpink, and then to that smaller extent, J Park, right? Kind of that triangle. You have these two at the top of BTS and Blackpink, and then there's this thing at the bottom of J Park. People are looking at K-pop more and more, and they're like, well, like, what is this music? What is going on over there? Especially here in America now, we're putting them on daytime TV. We're putting them in other things that we're going to talk about here in a minute as well. And it's starting to get more attention from the global market than it already was. That 5 or 6 years ago, J-pop had a hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be really cool, interesting to kind of see how it works out. And then like we talk about Takahashi Yuri, who's, it's crazy because like they talk about it and I have no context because obviously I haven't really been an AKB follower, not to the extent that you were. I liked a couple of the songs. I follow Oshima Yuko on Instagram.
That's my girl. That was my one. That was my. I pushed the fuck out of Oshima Yuko.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's
amazing. I love her.
I think she's in a musical, which is really cool. She's doing things. But yeah, like but I know that they talk about how Takahashi Yuri has been like a consistent Senbatsu presence. Even kind of like winning elections before, I believe, and
from what I can tell, yeah, she's won a few elections and a few other things.
Yeah, so it's very,
but she still never got that hard hit from the AKB inner workings.
Yeah, but it's not just her. And then it's like Takeuchi Miyu as well, who I guess is ex AKB48.
Yeah, she's already graduated. I mean, Takahashi Yuri is as well, but since she's graduating, but she's post graduation, so ex AKB48.
Yeah, so she's Miyu is has signed with Mystic Entertainment. They of course being kind of they're Yoon Jongshin's group, who are I think now a subsidiary. They just got bought up and are subsidiary of SM, which is kind of weird. But kind of like it's like SM is now becoming the Disney of like Korean music. It's like, but they're the label of Yoon Jongshin, and mostly have had like singer songwriters. They have Brown Eyed Girls technically, but that was basically because of the fact that they had Gain. And they just brought in everyone else, and now they're coming back. So they mostly are like singer-songwriters and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what she does with them. Because like there's that kind of label, but they're also technically under SM. It's like they're not really known for idol groups, but they might have some of the resources, or they might not go for an idol group. Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to speculate, right? Because you can only assume, like, coming out of AKB, you would put them in a girl group, right? And that's what's happening with Takahashi Juri, but that doesn't necessarily mean that other people coming out of the 48verse have to be in girl groups to stand out or show their worth. Like, some of these girls, and some of the girls when I paid attention to AKB48 probably could have carried on their own, but they were in the mill.
Yeah. They were in that system. But yeah, it's interesting, the ramifications, the expanse of K-pop. As we get into the kind of, speaking of the expanse of K-pop, we're getting into the last couple of articles, which is interesting. I'll start with, like, the fact that K-pop, basically, Trans World Entertainment is adding a dedicated retail space for K-pop, or has added, and is actually specifically not just that, because anybody can have, like, a little K-pop section. A lot of, like, you go to your Korean supermarket, they'll have a K-pop section, but they actually are sending data to Korean charts. By the way, if you don't know who Trans World Entertainment are, they're the owners of your local FYE. So, which makes it a little bit less of a fun thing, because not a lot of people like going to FYE. I hear a lot of negative things about trying to shop at FYE, but that aside, it's still a prominent place to kind of, like, put K-pop. I think I've seen people, like, I think on, like, some Google like business pages, there's some, like, pictures of, like, the K-pop section, which is like an end cap or something. I don't know if it's, like, just that was it before, or I think it's like some kind of end cap with, like, a bunch of CDs on it, which is really interesting. And it'll say is that it sends info to Gaon. It's like,
oh god, they own all the music things. Record and tape traders, Sam Goody, Suncoast. God.
Yeah.
All right. Focus. So they're kind of the big retailer in CD and music merch. As you would buy those kind of things. So because they're now sending that data back to Korea, that then leads to charting, right? So if charting starts to happen and record sales start to get tracked from America specifically, that then leads to, let's send more of this, let's send more of that, you know what I mean? Like it helps us, for those people who want the instant gratification buy of not having to do things that we've talked about in here before and going to an online shop and then waiting for a couple of weeks to months to get things. And then maybe that allows better entry into things like fandom things and stuff like that, because now we're tracked as sales, where I think you've talked about before, because it's harder to do and it's harder to kind of jump on these things, we don't always get into these fan groups and things like that. So maybe this allows for more American fan groups and more exclusivity for us here in America to show our support to the groups that we love.
Yeah, it's like you get to, like, instead of having to, like, find which one to order with, not only, like, order a thing and then pay shipping, or if you go to Yes Asia, there's free shipping, but if you look at it comparatively speaking, there's also a markup. That kind of bridges a little bit of the gap, but, like, and then, like, even then the free shipping is without tracking, so you just order it and then it'll come. A few weeks later, you get a package. It's like, surprise! Here's your K-pop. And it's like, get going to that. If people just want to be able to go to the store and buy some K-pop, there's not have to have, like, a boutique store nearby. You can go to, like, which is fine. You can go to, like, the K-pop store. I think there's one in Orlando. Like, K-pop in USA, I think, is still up in Orlando. Yeah. So it's like,
and I mean, and we've also talked about this before, where, like, you can also buy merch usually at, like, cons. but sometimes you're never really sure where some of that stuff comes from or how they get their hands on some of that stuff or where that stuff is going back to.
Let's talk about this beginning. Let's talk about our con merch. My Sunyoshide hat. I don't know if you can like line it up with all the other things on here, and if you know Korean, you'll probably spot what's wrong with this. Shit's backwards. This thing is backwards.
This is, but yeah. So there's weird bootleg shit like that. But so another thing that could possibly help that is SM and Global Shop Partners are going to be partnering with Hot Topic to bring more merch to America as well. So this now leads into more physical merch, t-shirts, plushies, hats, things like that we can now get at more brands that are already pre-established in America. So this is just another thing to add on to that. And then hopefully this will also then be something that is tracked and we can get shit. This doesn't mean I can't go back in time and get any of the fucking fucking Big Bang shit that I would have wanted when it originally came out. But that's cool. I ain't mad. I am, but I'm not.
I will say there's actually some really cool shirts. Especially that red velvet one is dope.
Yeah, I think I might have to get that. I'm down for red velvet. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Really nice. So kids, hit up your local Hot Topic as if it was the fucking 90s. Fucking buy that K-pop merch.
God. It's like for us it's the 90s. I guarantee there's people out there. It's like, oh, hit up Hot Topic like it was decade of my childhood and like the 2000s. It's because they know how to like hit the teenage like alternative market so well, and they're still around.
Yeah, because they did it with with all the nickel shit that they started selling, and like all the Disney like kind of goth shit they were selling. Everyone sells pop, so I don't really want from everyone sells pops. But yeah, so this is just another thing that then there keeps Hot Topic afloat in the world.
I will say you can, at least in the one near I think the mall near my job, Daylight Mall, the Hot Topic there at least, but I imagine everywhere, the clearance section, you can usually find some good t-shirt gems like for like super cheap.
Yeah, but I mean, if this is a thing that's actually legitimately happening, I will go to Hot Topic. I will look for those red velvet. I will hound them.
Yeah,
maybe two.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. I'm gonna get me some merch. So hopefully get some more, not just SM. But let me get some some JYP. Give me a Twice shirt. Luna, some Luna merch. Some Dreamcatcher merch there. More K-pop merch. But yeah. That being said, I was gonna say speaking of merch, but we don't have merch.
No, not yet.
Nobody's gonna buy any of our merch. I gotta find that Fanny Pack Wrestling shirt that I own somewhere. That being said. That brings us to the end of another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku. Kaz, what's going on in your world? What's going on with you?
Go check out the last few episodes of DKG Whelp. We're still doing that fun podcast of the Chuckleverse that we like to call it. And Sports Odds and Ends. Me and JVZ talking about all the things sports. We're probably somehow, some way, speaking of people doing shady shit, gonna have to get into this whole Robert Kraft thing and what that means for literally all of sports because this man has his hands in everything. He even owns an Overwatch team. So literally all of sports.
Not just his hands, though.
Oh God. So yeah, we're gonna probably end up digging into that and hopefully he doesn't bring down esports because I think that'll be the first thing that takes a hit, if anything.
Everything kind of contracts in. All the fringe stuff suffers first.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Because if he brings down sports, I'll throw a rock at him. If he brings down esports.
But in the meantime, you can listen to Sports Odds and Ends if you want more dunking on the Lakers.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that fucking debacle too. Jesus, Ryman, that's a drama and a half. If you like K-dramas, watch the Lakers.
yes. But yeah, that's TKGTV.com. Also, sportsoddsands.com. He's at King Kaz. I'm at PD Rave. The show is Hallyujuku.
Didn't I tell you? Don't you know?
We're at kpoppodcast.com or hallyujuku.com. Rebellion.net for this and other shows, including Record Breakers. I think I should post this pretty quickly. So this week, it's another episode with Curly. This time we're talking about Pale Waves, My Mind Makes Noises, which is really, if you like pop, if you like K-pop, you'll like it. It's very kind of cool, very catchy, very synth poppy. It's really cool. Go check it out. But of course, do your homework along the way. But
Give it to me straight, Doctor.
yeah, check out all the things. Subscribe, like, share, do all the things. Until next time.
Why, I think you're crazy.
Hasta los huevos. Annyeong. Fighting.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.